What's up YouTube, Saf here on Super Saf TV, and in this video I'm going to be comparing the specs of the original Google Nexus 7 tablet to the new Google Nexus 7 or Nexus 7 Generation 2, whichever you want to call it. Now they are both manufactured by Asus, and the original Google Nexus 7 very popular, a bit of a game changer I would say. Before it there was other 7-inch tablets, 7 to 8-inch tablets in this form factor, but they weren't very popular and they were also very expensive. Then came along the Google Nexus 7 with some seriously good specs at a budget price. Now there's been a lot of anticipation and excitement over the new Google Nexus 7, and it's just been announced today, and it's boasting some very nice specs as well. But what's different between these two, and what changes have been made to the Nexus 7 tablet? Well, do hit that thumbs up button and let's find out in this head-to-head spec comparison. So initially looking at the dimensions, they've not been specific in terms of the height, but in terms of the width, the new Nexus 7 is slightly smaller in terms of width, roughly about 5.5mm. They have taken off some of that bezel around the screen. Now in terms of the thickness as well, 1.8mm thinner than the original Nexus, so almost 2mm thinner, so you've got a bit more of a compact device here. In terms of the weight as well, the original Nexus 7 340 grams, but Hugo Barrel was specific in saying that it's 50 grams lighter than the new Nexus 7 is, so that would make it 290 grams. There's other reports saying that it's 318 grams, but from Google itself it's 50 grams lighter. So it's great to see a more compact device but with the same screen size. You've got 7 inches on both of these screens, so you've got the exact same screen size but in a more compact form factor. What's different in these screens is the resolution. The original Nexus 7 1280 by 800 pixels, a very nice resolution, 216 ppi, quite impressive, very sharp, and it's still a great screen. But the new Nexus 7 has improved on that significantly. You've got a 1920 by 1200 pixel resolution. Very nice here, especially for HD videos, etc. It's going to be absolutely great, and that's 323 ppi. That's an amazing PPI, the highest PPI on any tablet right now. Comparing that to something like the iPad 4, the 4th generation iPad, which has 264 PPI, you know, the new Nexus 7 absolutely smashes that. A brilliant pixel ratio on there. Images are going to look absolutely great. Text is going to be very crisp on this device, and they've also said that it's got 30% wide range of colors on the new Google Nexus 7 compared to the original, so big improvements here. Now looking at what's inside these devices in terms of the processors and the GPUs, the original Nexus 7 quad-core 1.3 GHz NVIDIA Tegra 3, and it's got the ULP GeForce GPU. Now comparing that to the new Nexus 7, you've got the quad-core 1.5 GHz Snapdragon S4 Pro. Now they're saying that's roughly about 80% faster than the original, and the GPU is the Adreno 320, which is apparently 4 times faster. That's what Google's saying. So a big improvements here in terms of the specs. It's going to be a much faster and higher performing tablet. RAM as well, you've got 2 GB versus 1 GB of RAM, so more multitasking abilities on the new Nexus 7. In terms of the different versions you have available, you've got the 16 and 32 GB versions, Wi-Fi only on both sides here. You've got the 32 GB Wi-Fi plus 3G version on the original Nexus 7. The new Nexus 7 is also going to come with a 4G LTE, so 32 GB Wi-Fi 4G LTE version as well. So again, another advantage here for the new Nexus 7. Now in terms of the rear-facing cameras, the original Nexus 7 doesn't have a rear-facing camera. A bit of a disappointment for some. Personally, you know, I don't use my tablet with the rear-facing camera, so not a huge deal for me personally. But the new Nexus 7 does come with a 5 megapixel rear-facing camera, which films at 1080p HD, so that's absolutely great to see. Front-facing camera, you've got pretty much the same camera on here, the 1.2 megapixel front-facing camera, which is capable of filming 720p HD. Now the operating systems, they both have Jelly Bean, Android Jelly Bean 4.3 out of the box for the new Nexus 7. The original Nexus 7 4.2.2 currently, but the update has already been announced, so you're going to be getting 4.3 on here as well. That's one of the beauties of having a Nexus device, getting those updates straight from Google. Now they haven't been specific in terms of the milliamps per hour on the battery of the new Nexus 7, but they have said it's going to give 1 hour more usage compared to the original. So that's great to see that even though you've got higher specs, that you're still going to get more battery performance out of the new Google Nexus 7. Now, touching on some of the other features, the new Nexus 7 also has a slim port HDMI support. So if you do get a slim port adapter, you can pick those up quite cheap. You can connect it on to your TV via HDMI, so you know you're going to be able to get what's on your tablet onto your TV screen. That's absolutely great. That's not available on the original Nexus 7. You've also got dual stereo speakers on the new Nexus 7. The original Nexus 7 has the mono single speaker at the back, so again, in terms of sound, you're going to get more rich surround sound on the new Nexus 7. And finally, wireless charging as well, you're going to be getting on the new Nexus 7 compared to the original, which did not have this facility. Now, finishing off with price, the original Nexus 7, you're looking at £159 here in the UK, or $199 in the US for the 16GB version, and for the 32GB version, you're looking at £199 here in the UK, or $249 in the US. So that's the current pricing. I mean, that's likely to go down if they do decide to continue with the Nexus 7, but you may be seeing a drop in certain retailers as well, so that might be an opportunity to grab a Nexus 7 if you're not hugely bothered about some of the specs there. Now, prices for the new Google Nexus 7 have also been announced, but only for the US right now, $230 for the 16GB version, or for the 32GB version, $270, with a release date of 30th of July. That's when you're going to be able to order it. Now, the problem here is that they've not announced any prices or release dates for any of the markets. They've said in the coming weeks. So a bit disappointed considering I'm in the UK. Now, I would expect if it's on the same pricing structure for the UK, you're looking at roughly about £190 here in the UK for the 16GB version, or roughly about £230 for the 32GB version. So slightly more compared to what the initial release prices were for the original Nexus 7, but you are getting those extra specs. So those were the key differences between these two devices. I think there is quite an improvement on the Nexus 7, especially in terms of that screen resolution and some of the internals on here. Very impressed with the new Google Nexus 7. In terms of the price, I mean, it is still reasonably priced, slightly more, but still reasonably priced. And if you do have the Nexus 7, it's still a great tablet. The original Nexus 7 is still a great tablet. It's not necessary that you have to upgrade to the new Google Nexus 7, but because of the price point and because it is quite a budget device in terms of the price, you know, you may as well go for it and you know, give your previous Nexus 7 to your kids or something like that. You do have the option because of the pricing here. What are your thoughts on the new Google Nexus 7? Will you be going for it? Do you think it's a nice improvement on the previous Google Nexus 7 original? Do drop me a comment below and let me know your thoughts on that. I will be getting it in for a hands-on review and comparison, so do stay tuned and subscribe to see that first. I hope you enjoyed this video and found it useful. If you did, as always, please do hit that thumbs up button for me. It really does help me out. And why not subscribe to the channel? As I've said, there's plenty more content coming up on here, including lots more giveaways. Thanks for watching. This is Saf on Super Saf TV, and I'll see you next time.